Welcome. In front of me I have the brand new Nothing Phone 2, and today I'll go over unboxing along with a quick look at this device. So here's our tiny little package. As you can probably see based on the package size, there is no charger included. So yeah. Now, one thing that I don't necessarily like about the packaging is we do have this little pull tab right here. It just completely ruins the box. So just to kind of show this off, yoink. That's basically literally the unboxing of this device. You rip it apart. Now in here we get something new. Okay, that's a little bit better. We have basically engraving on here. I believe it's the exact same thing that we have right here. Yep, looks to be very similar. Let's move this out of the way. So, here we have our phone. Oh damn, that's some strong glue. Can I like peel it off without breaking it? I'm a big fan of not ripping everything apart. But it looks like that's not going to be the case here. Oh, maybe a little bit. There we go. I'm going to set the phone this side for now. Stop sliding away. And let's see, we get some paperwork in here, nothing really special. Honestly, reminds me a lot about iPhone. iPhone has something similar. And then we get our charging cable and a SIM ejector. Ooh. Oh, hello, that's an interesting looking cable. As you can see, it's also branded with nothing. If the camera can catch focus, which would be fantastic. Oh, there we go. So it has like a plastic shell over it and metal part inside with the branding of nothing. It looks really nice. I do like the aesthetic of this cable, and that's really what all it is. It's an aesthetic. And then we get a SIM ejector right here. So there we go. Now let's move over to the device. So, in a moment you will see the display right here, and that will be a 6.7 inch display with a 1080p by 2412 resolution. It's a pretty neat booting animation. And now as you can see, now we have our nothing UI right here. It's probably hate it or love it. I'm more on the side of love it. I do really like the aesthetic of it, but I do understand some people might not like it. And this aesthetic is used almost throughout the entire device and most of default apps, wallpapers and all that stuff, which you will see in a second. And obviously also at the back as well. Okay. Have some widgets, whatever. Meet the glyph interface. Okay, let's meet it. Well, nothing's happening. It's a bit disappointing. Oh, it shows me the what each one of them does. Essential notifications, so that would be this little LED right here. Glyph time, so basically a stopwatch. Choose your visual style. We have the default Android or nothing. Let's go with the nothing. That's after all a nothing phone. That was odd. Anyway, here we have our home screen. Now the apps are a little bit too big for my liking. They're absolutely humongous right here. But in any case, the device booted up, runs really smoothly. So let's go over all the specs. So like I mentioned, I already mentioned that display resolution and size. Now it is an LTPO OLED display, 1 billion colors, 120 Hz refresh rate, HDR10 plus certified, and a peak brightness of 1600 nits, and also has 87.2% screen to body ratio, 394 pixels per inch. So that's basically all the display. Now to the people that don't really know what I just said, let me just shorten this and say the display is pretty good right here. Now, if we flip it over, oh, that was an interesting sound. I'll just bring it to the camera. Has this super simplistic sounds. Anyway, now if we flip it over, we have a dual camera setup. Thank you for including only 2 cameras and not including some shit cam, just to bring the count of the cameras at the back up, which is annoying. So here we have 2 different sensors, which both of them are 50 megapixel wide and ultra wide. So these are the only 2 cameras that we have right here. Now on the front, we have a 32 megapixel selfie that is hole punched in here. Unfortunately, honestly, I think it would have been much nicer for them to go with an under display camera, kind of like iPhone or I believe some ZTEs have. This would arguably, I'm just saying, fit more with the nothing branding, making it as minimalistic as you can and kind of futuristic looking. Probably would have been a little bit better of a choice. Obviously, I do understand that they went with the quality over the kind of like futuristic look, because under display cameras aren't necessarily as good as the normal ones where they are hole punched. But just kind of pointing that out, it would have been a cool little thing to do. Now, going back to the cameras at the back, with the back cameras, you can record videos at 4K 30 and 60 1080p, 3060, and then at the front with the selfie only 1080p 30. So it's a little bit worse than the back. Now moving on into the internals of this device, it comes with 4700 milliamp hour battery. It comes also with the cable and not a charger, as we already seen, but we can fast charge this device at 45 watts, power delivery 3.0, and it gets your device to 100% in 55 minutes. At least that's what they're advertising. And we also have a 15 watts wireless charging. So if you have a wireless charger somewhere, like I do somewhere here of the camera, if I could only find it. I don't have any marking, and oh, there we go. Whoa, that was a less fun sound for charging. But yeah, it's so. Oops, let's try it again. So I'm gonna just literally shift it off, and oh no, it automatically disappears. Okay. Anyway, I do have literally a wireless charger that is screwed from underneath the table, so I can just place it semi like this, and if the charger would have been here, it just charges it, but it's a little bit off the camera, so I cannot really show it. But yeah, we do have 15 watts wireless charging, which is pretty nice. Now moving on, sticking still with the internals, this device comes with a Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1. Now this is one of the better processors that you can get. It's also the same processor that is on the Fold 4, which obviously was a significantly more expensive device. But yeah, still the processor in there is the same. And needless to say, if you don't really know what these processors are, basically it's the highest end processor for Android that has been only succeeded by its own newer generation. So Snapdragon 8, this one is the 8 Plus Gen 1, so it's overclocked Gen 1, and nowadays we have the Gen 2, which is just a single version higher, and that's it. So needless to say, this device will be stupidly fast, more than probably majority of people need it to be. And continuing on, we do have, I believe, under display fingerprint sensor, which it's not set up, but obviously it's more like right here. And obviously anything else that you'd expect from a pretty semi like a flagship device, because that's basically what it is. Now that being said, this is without consider a flagship device. It might not have the newest best processor, but it has best processor from the last previous generation basically. And with that being said, this device comes at about 700 euros, 630 pounds, something along those lines, 5100 or 5200 Indian rupees. So the pricing right here is okay. I cannot complain about it. It does come with the OnePlus kind of aesthetics, and I will point out a couple things when talking about this device to kind of give a broader perspective on the price and the device itself. So from the looks of it, OnePlus seems to be going for this kind of like Apple-like look. So they're trying to make it minimalistic, appeal to people, and bring up the price basically with the hopes that their branding will carry their sales, similar to what Apple did back in the day, and well, still does up to till now. Now, I'm pointing this out because this device is still fairly priced. I cannot dispute that. But when it comes on to comparing it to some Chinese devices like Xiaomi, it just completely gets demolished by the price, because the Poco F5 Pro basically costs less than this and has basically the same specifications. So that's why I'm kind of pointing this out. Now, that being said, OnePlus does have some things going for it, like the back that is clear. I have this, arguably to me, a very appealing look at the back. I really do like how it looks like, just the general aesthetics. And on top of that, we do have basically the lighting all around here, if you're into that. Personally, I'm not necessarily super stoked about this, just because it consumes more battery and like my device to just last longer rather than have some flashy little lights on the back. But I do like the aesthetics of it, the design, which looks pretty nice. Now, that being said, previous generation of the Nothing phone, the first one, had a fully flat back and obviously front. This one sticks with the flat front. Obviously, there's no curved edges or anything like that, but the back is now just subtly curved, as you can probably see right here. So it feels a little bit nicer when holding it in hand. You don't have these like super chamfered edges basically digging into your hand. It has a little bit of a slope to it, so it molds a little bit better to your hand. And yeah, that's about all I can say about the kind of like back. Now, quickly touching up on the build quality right here, as you can probably see, we do have a Gorilla Glass front and back, along with aluminum frame all around. We have our power button on our right side, pretty big power button. And then we have our volume rockers on the left. At the bottom, we have our SIM tray. This looks to be only a SIM tray and nothing else. So let's just put that to the test and be sure. Yep, so this is just dual SIM tray. You cannot put an SD card in here. And that being said, this device comes with 128 gigabytes of storage and 8 gigabytes of RAM at the lowest end, and at the highest is half a terabyte and 12 gigs of RAM. So something to keep in mind when buying this. You probably should be good to go with the lowest end model, 8 gigs of RAM and 128 storage. But the storage obviously is not upgradable, so if you think you will need more than 120, go for the higher end, like right away, rather than later on having problems and trying to like constantly remove data so you can fit something else on your device. Now, that being said, I was talking previously about the Poco F5 Pro. I do want to mention this again. That device costs less, but it also comes with more storage. I think it has by default 12 gigs of RAM and 256 gigabytes of storage, so twice as much as the bare bones version of the Nothing phone. So I'm just kind of wanted to point that out for people that might be interested in a device that is a little bit more affordable while still providing same, if not better, user experience. No, maybe not user experience, but better specs for the device. That would probably be more accurate. So anyway, not much more to say about this device. It's a pretty cool device. Has its specific aesthetics that will appeal to some people, probably not all. The device seems to be really well engineered, looks nice. The skin that they have on Android, I personally do like. It is eye-catchy and simplistic, so it does speak to me, but obviously if you don't like it, you can switch it to something more default or install your own launchers and all that stuff, so that's also not a problem. So there we go. One last thing that I'll mention, which I didn't, I have the white version right here, but there's also a black one. If you want to have a different color, you can have more of a stealthy black color rather than this more eye-catchy white one. So there we go. So with that being said, if you found this very helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.